Hey, record loving friends, Brian from Tokyo Record Style. I am in my local neighborhood here on my trusty steed, and I am headed on another record store adventure. I'm zipping across Tokyo, all the way across, over to Asakusa to go to the All Japan Record and CD Carnival. This is a really groovy festival where shops from all across Japan come together and host a touring record fair. It's very, very cool. I don't know how friendly they'll be about us bringing the camera in there, but it'll be a fun adventure across town. So I invite you to come with me. We're gonna cut clear across the city, and we have a microscopic record budget, but hopefully it should be fun. So join me and rubber side down, off we go. Okay, we made it, folks, and my trusty steed got us here safely. Thank you very much. Rubber side down. We are in Asakusa, which is in Shitamachi, downtown Tokyo. And we are here at the Taito Community Center, and the records are up there on the 5th floor. But before I take you over there, just a quick walk around the block. There's a nice little park right here, some beautiful bluebells or something in bloom. A little racket court here where there's some kids playing racket. The hydrangeas are just coming out of bloom. People are playing here in the park. There's an interesting little restaurant below a residence here. It's very typical Asakusa. A nice little coffee shop here, vibrant orange color. Adjacent the neighborhood, which are always these gridded streets. In Asakusa and in the old downtown Tokyo, all the streets are arranged in grids. And here's a nice little playground where it sort of feels like a, just a neighborhood park. And although this particular area, Asakusa, which is right adjacent Sensoji and Kaminarimon, and the main Asakusa area is quite affluent and nice. Generally, the east side of Tokyo was once the center of Edo, was once the center of old downtown Tokyo. And then the city moved westward and it became a little bit neglected, the east side, and became very affordable. And now that it's become a bit gentrified, and it's cool coffee shops and little restaurants. And over my shoulder here is Tokyo Skytree, which is the tallest freestanding tower in the world. It's a TV tower. And behind me, or rather in front of me, over my shoulder in this direction, is Asakusa Jinja, the Shinto shrine, and Sensoji, the big Buddhist temple, one of the prominent neighborhood features of Asakusa. And Asakusa Jinja is where I happened to get married back in the day, approaching 20 years now. And so I have a special connection to this place. Our wedding reception was right there at a museum. And we're coming to the Taito-ku Kumin Senta for the record fair. I'm not so sure how keen they're going to be on us shooting video here. Okay, but very nice. Here we are at the All Japan Record and CD Disc Carnival 2026 with some 20 record shops on July 4th and 5th on the 5th floor here at the Kumin Center. A beautiful mural and some history of the area, beautiful crafts and instruments, and beautiful, some various Japanese craftsworks that you can find in the various neighborhoods. I'm gonna get on this one. Ooh, dun, 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 dun. Oh, this one only goes to 8, 9, and 10. I need to go to 4 and 5. Looks really groovy. I'm 1000% sure it's not a good plan to just come in here, cameras blazing. So there you go. There's the 2026 All Japan Record and CD Disc Carnival. I'm very happy to be back. I'm gonna probably run into a friend or two. If I can pull off to the side and show you guys a little bit, or maybe show you a score after it's not a good look to be digging through the records and to have people on camera that don't want to be on camera. It's a Japanese culture thing, so forgive me. But oh, I already see one of my pals, Jeff Beck, is here. All right, wish me luck. Maybe if I keep the camera down a little bit, it'll be okay. I'm just mindful of having other people on camera. I'm just gonna do a quick walk around. So that's it. I don't think I can do this on every row, but let's go enjoy and respect everybody's personal space. But it's a great view. It's a really great view. I wish you could come and be here with me. If you come to Japan, keep your eye on the Record and CD Carnival, and maybe you can align up your trip to coincide with this and we can come here together. So, this is a good record. It's got lots of them. Quite funny. Japanese comedy record. Brother Inferior. It's really from Tulsa. Brother Inferior, that's crazy. videos like this. I don't like making them and I don't like doing them. Ooh, that's Moist Voice. That's Gene Ween. Or Dean Ween. Shinjuku. That's tempting. 2,400 yen. Wow, nice movie. Surprised about that not that long ago. Wow, that looks great. Oh man. It really has to be something I really, really want. Oh, it's interesting. Oh, it's interesting. I went overboard. I actually didn't. I kept a pretty tight budget, and I scored some records in my amoeba bag here. I'm going to talk to you this way. And I'm late. I got to go hook up my son, and I got to go take him to a thing, and I'm going to have to tune in later. I gotta rush to get back home. And I wanted to say thank you to the All Japan Record and CD Carnival. Everybody was very nice and groovy and helpful. And there were lots of good records, heaps of good records, so many records. I was overwhelmed. You know, it's like hard to kind of make sense of it all. There's so many records. And you don't really know where to start, and then you don't really know where to end, and then you don't find anything, and then suddenly you find a bunch of stuff. And I started out with one record that I really wanted that sort of just caught my attention, a blind buy almost, but still something of interest. And then I got like 5 more records that were all under like $8. So it was a cheap and fun run. I will report back from the home with what I scored. All right, rubber side down. Let's get this puppy back home. Rubber side down. Okay, Record Lover friends, I am back home after a wonderful drive across Tokyo, clear across Tokyo. It's such a nice time of year to be riding. It's like t-shirt weather, very nice. And dusk was so beautiful, and it was great. And actually an entire day has passed. It's the following day, and I've gotten home and I've actually had a chance to listen to my records and think about my experience at the All Japan Record and CD Carnival. It was really fun. It was a lot of fun. I had a great time. This was maybe the 4th or 5th year that I went, and this year was crowded. It was really crowded. It's probably crowded every year, and I probably only ever go on the second or last day of the 2-day fair. I did showed up at around 3 p.m., 3:30, 4 p.m. I noticed that there was some note about arriving early. If you arrive early, you have to line up at a certain time and get a lottery ticket. So I expected early in the morning it was probably very, very busy. But I had a great time. When I showed up, it was chock full of people, and I was really mindful about the video, and I did do the flip video kind of thing. I don't really love doing that, and I tried to, reframe it and cut everybody's heads off, and sorry if it wasn't polite, but I really did try to be mindful of it. Where to start? I mean, it's such an overwhelming prospect to go to one of these record fairs. I never really know what I'm looking for. I don't bring a list. I'm not that kind of digger. I'm usually on a pretty limited budget. I never really buy more than 3 or 4 or 5 records at a time, if that. It's usually 1 or 2. So I just kind of went around like checking everything out, getting the lay of the land, and trying to decide what I might find. And immediately I kept seeing the indie and the alternative and the new wave and no wave and punk records, and I thought, okay, I'll if I find something from my youth, maybe some Adrian Sherwood thing, or some Faith No More kind of thing, or some old hip hop record that I really loved, or who knows, maybe I would get something like one record from the 90s, something like this. So I started digging through all of that stuff, and it was really fun. There was heaps of great records, lots of stuff I already had, or stuff that I would have liked to have bought. But while there was lots of great stuff in the $20, $30, $40 range, when you hit a good record, it jumped up to $100. I didn't see like heaps of $300, $400, $500, $600 records. I saw some, but not heaps. Like you go to Disc Union or you go to Tower Records, you'll see a wall of $1,000 records, and you just think, who's buying these records? Who can afford to buy these? But there wasn't that much of that there. There was some, but not heaps of it. There was lots of digging and lots of affordable digs, and lots of rock and roll. It was like overflowing with rock records, classic rock records. Lots of Beatles, lots of Rolling Stones, lots of Zeppelin, lots of Pink Floyd, And that's cool too. And lots of bootlegs, stuff for collectors. If you were into those bands and you really want to collect their bootlegs, Bob Dylan bootlegs, they had a whole bunch of like live recordings. I saw a bunch of that around. It was quite cool. And I think the big play this year was jazz records. I mean, it's always a big play, but I just saw so many jazz sections and so many jazz subgenres and bop and hard bop and free jazz and spiritual and fusion, heaps of fusion records, and Japanese jazz and jazz from around the world, Three Blind Mice records, original pressings, and Blue Notes, and there was a lot of jazz. But also like HMV was there, and they had lots of like kind of not new records, but they had good stuff. And there was like a blues guy who was there. There was a guy who had like all this stuff from the islands, some Jamaican guys. There was lots of 7-inches. I didn't have time to really touch the 7-inches, but it was a good vibe. Everybody was kind of on the level. I gave away a lot of Tokyo Record Style stickers to all the owners. I saw a few of the owners from the Nagoya shop. I met a lot of record store owners and I chatted them up, and they were all happy to get a sticker and hear about Tokyo Record Style. The ages, lots of, as you'd expect, middle-aged kind of dudes, some older guys, few young women, a couple of like really vibrantly, colorfully dressed women that kind of like, I was like, oh, they look quite interesting and cool. I kind of wondered what the story was there. I told one of them, yo, I like your style. She had this super colorful dress on. She was like, oh, cheers. She had a British accent. I was like, okay, interesting. I did see one other non-Japanese person there that's worth commenting on. Okay, I came in like real mindful about the camera, and it's just not a thing you just don't really, it's just, you got to be mindful about. I think these shop owners, not just the record shop owners, but anybody who's curated a beautiful, artful space, it's not that they want to keep it private, it's just that they don't want to cheapen it, with some sort of Instagram throwaway, anything that belittles what they're doing or just kind of unsophisticates it a little bit, So I think they're like, do I really need your photos here? Do I really want my photos out there? I've worked really hard to create this space that invites you to come here. So I get that. And that comes from being here a lot of years and from knowing the vibe. But I did see one other non-Japanese guy who had a camera around his neck on one of those like neck chest mount kind of things. And I thought, oh, okay, I saw him. And he had it kind of pointing down at the record so he could dig through the records. Now, I'm careful about what I'm about to say because this may be me in just a few months' time. But he had an earpiece. He had like an AirPod in his ear, and he was chatting with somebody, and he was proxy buying for somebody. I thought, oh, okay. I was reminded that I've been offered more than once, an opportunity to join somebody else's platform or to join their service where I can become a proxy buyer at Japan record stores for overseas customers, overseas buyers. And that idea just doesn't really appeal to me. It just doesn't kind of sit well. It's got an ato aji ga waru. It's got a little bad aftertaste, a bad pre-taste to it. It feels a little bit like, for a lack of better words, pillaging. It seems like it's something similar to going to Cambodia or going to Egypt and going and hiring some local thieves to uproot some important articles of antiquity, these historical heirlooms of the nation that really should be in museums. And okay, fine, are records really that precious? Maybe not, but it didn't really sit that well with me. But like I said, I mean, it's probably very lucrative, and I don't know if the shop owners are really opposed to like moving records. I mean, they want to be in business. So maybe they don't really shun that, especially if the camera is like pointing down at the records the whole time. But at the same time, there was like something about it wasn't cool, But what was kind of even more uncool about it was that I didn't notice this until I was checking out. But the guy apparently had been taking records to the counter a couple at a time so that he didn't have to lug them around. And when I was checking out, he was checking out too. And they were pulling all the records out that he had put behind the counter. And there were hundreds of them. There was like maybe as many as like 500 records. And he was about to go through them all with the proxy buyer on the other side of this live stream. And they were going to check them out together and then probably do some deal with I don't know, but it just didn't. It was like very un-Japanese, I thought. But look, maybe it's very Japanese because I think this is exactly what they did all around the world. They went out and bought the best motorcycles and the best cameras and the best Levi's and the best guitars, and it's all here. So, it goes around and it comes around. Generally, the digging was good. It was just, in general, it was super awesome. I'd like to go again. I'd like to go every year. Very, very cool. I can't really say anything more about the digging except that it was all over the place as you'd expect at the record fair. Nothing really jumped out at me, and so I recalculated and I thought, okay, I'll buy something that I can really only buy here at the record fair. Maybe I'll go digging through the world sections, and maybe I'll pick up some sounds from Tunisia or maybe some interesting Chilean band or, some Turkish psych or something like this, So I started going through the world jazz and the world sounds, and I found the cool record that jumped out at me, Umas and Outras, Some and Others. I think this is in Portuguese. This is a Brazilian all-girls rock pop MBP Tropicalia rock pop band from Brazil. And they just looked supremely cool. One's got an afro. They've got these cool costumes on. It's from like 70 something, 72, 73. And I noticed it was on Polydor, which is what all my Caetano Veloso and my Osimitanchis records are on. I thought, okay, this is probably going to be a good blind buy. And so I did a little bit of streaming on it, and sure enough, it was really groovy. This is a repress from, I don't know, maybe not that old, maybe 5 or 10 years ago. And the original is, I don't think that expensive, but this was like $20. I can't wait to play this because I know what's going to happen is I'm going to be out playing a set somewhere, and I'm going to bring this along, and I'm going to put, I don't even know which tune is the standout track, but I'm going to put one of the tracks on, and it's going to turn some heads, and people are going to do that beta band thing. What's this band? What is this? And you're going to say, oh, it's Demasiado Trust. It's pretty good, right? So I'm excited about this. Very groovy. And so that was I thought, okay, well, that's my one blind buy. And then I went around. I thought maybe I'd get one or two more, just some cheap heat. It's hard to take just one record home. There was one table that had so many cheap records, so many cheap jazz records. And there was one that has been kind of haunting me for a while. Chick Corea's Return to Forever, the blue one with the seagull going across. I saw a perfect copy of it for 500 yen, which is like $3. And I was like, I saw it they are an original press with the Obi over on the next row for like $800. So I thought, oh, I keep wanting to buy this record and I never buy it. So, and then I found like a Mal Waldron. Oh, I have one or two Mal Waldron records. Oh, I love Mal Waldron. I'll get another Mal. And then I found an Eric Dolphy record. And then I found some cheap Coltrane, a cheap ESP record. And they were all like under $10. So I kind of stuck them all at the back. And I thought, okay, maybe I'll go around. And if I come back and they're still here, I'll take a few of them back. And sure enough, the ESP record was gone when I came back. The Return to Forever was also gone, but Eric Dolphy's Last Date was on there. And I think I saw this record not all that long ago on my friend H's wall of records at his gallery SCART. I think I remember seeing this record, and it was only 400 yen, which is like, $3, less than. It's like $2, like basically $1 record. And I don't have any Eric Dolphy in my collection, so decided to take this home. And I was kind of expecting to hear something really free, jazzish, and a bit more avant-garde, but it's pretty straightforward and groovy. I really, really dug it. He's so articulate, and his playing is so mesmerizing. And he plays flute and clarinet and alto sax on it. No matter which instrument he's playing, he's zigging and zagging, and there's so much communication with the rest of the band. And this was his last performance ever, Last Date, in Berlin with some German cats who he was playing with, and he had a diabetic aneurysm, or he went into some kind of coma, and the hospital didn't really know what to do with him, and they dismissed his profession as a jazz artist and perhaps his tone of skin. And had he, been a different person or had a different job, he might have gotten just a little bit of care and survived, and he died needlessly. And he was very much mourned by his peers. I read that Mingus especially wrote about how articulate he was and about how nice of a guy he was. And other people wrote tributes to him, and there's records out there that you probably know about that are odes to Eric Dolphy. So I'm going to have to go backwards through Eric Dolphy. I'm going to start in here at the end, and you'll leave a comment of which Eric Dolphy I should go to next. And as I was reading the back here, he's playing with some interesting like European folks. Han Benek on drums, Jacques Scholz on bass, Misha Mengelberg on piano. It says here, I remember hearing him for the first time with Chico Hamilton in 1958. I heard that Chico's new group was much more emotionally driven than his previous chamber-like units, but I was not prepared for the lean young man who played alto with such searing intensity and in a style that was unmistakably and fiercely his own. So I thought for that reason, okay, I gotta take home this 400 yen Chico Hamilton record too, which has this very groovy cover on it that has the Los Angeles sculptor Vito here featured on the cover. And this is a really fantastic rhythm section, Chico on drums and Carson Smith on bass. And what really separates this from other records that I've heard from this era is that there is a guy called Freddie Katz on cello, which I don't know anything about Freddie Katz, so you guys will have to school me about him. But it's such an interesting juxtaposition, the cello on Buddy Collette's alto sax and this really beautiful rhythm section. It's really fun and really hot, and I think that the cello gives the overall, it's not on every track if I remember correctly. I think I only heard side one, but it elevates the record, and it makes it a bit more sophisticated. And for that reason, I really dug this. I'm going to have to also check out more Chico Hamilton. This one was great, in his quintet in the album Hi-Fi. And then also, I had to score this copy of Louis Armstrong, just kind of compilation that caught my eye. It was really the album cover that caught my eye. I love Louis Armstrong. I don't own any Louis Armstrong. I'm probably not going to listen to that much Louis Armstrong, but this compilation is 4 sides, and I thought if you're going to have one Louis Armstrong, it might as well be something like this. The tunes I don't really know. Get Bucket Blues, Heebie Jeebies, Strutting with Some Barbecue, Melancholy Blues, Potato Head Blues. No, there's lots of blues. St. Louis Blues, Yellow Dog Blues, Beale Street Blues. I was like, it's all blues. Black and Blue, and Ain't Misbehaving. But the thing that I really love about this is the cover. I really love the cover. And I love these black and white photos that have been colorized. I've heard people sort of scoff at them. It's not cool. No, it's very, very cool. I really, really love it. It's got this graphic thing. It's very photographic. And for that, I really, really love it. And I can't wait to just put this on the turntable and put this in front of me and admire Louis Armstrong's giant smile here. Yeah, so very happy to add some Satchmo to the collection here. And it's got the vertical gatefold on the inside, and he looks so supremely cool in his coat and tails. And yeah, happy to add some Louis Armstrong. I always hear Andy Edwards, that YouTuber guy who's British, who's always talking about the 10 best and the 10 worst guitars. He's always talking about the importance of Louis Armstrong as the most influential musician of the 21st century. Of course, I know this, and I learned this, and I even took a history of jazz sort of survey course in my first year of college, if I remember correctly. Really cool professor, this wicked guitar player, who influenced my other purchase, come to think of it. I just, I want to add it to the collection for historical reasons. I already listened to one of the records, not, fantastic sounding. It's got that, old-timey sound to it. I'll put it on from time to time. I have to do this sometime. I have to educate myself. I've got, I had to do the Duke Ellington, run, and I bought 5 Duke Ellington records and had to listen to that for, a couple of weeks to burn it to memory. And now I'm going to do the same thing here with Louis. And that one was like 700 yen. And then I used to have some John McLaughlin or some Mahavishnu Orchestra, but it's been a long time. I don't know what happened to her or where it went, and I certainly was not able to appreciate it at the time. I think it was my jazz teacher, this guy who taught the survey course. He loved John McLaughlin, and another guy who I know who's a badass on guitar who went to Berkeley and is a Berkeley jazz guy. He swears by John McLaughlin. So I don't know what happened to those records, but they went away, so I scored this Birds of Fire with the top obi, which is somehow, I think it's glued on. It's been either fused on. Anyway, also 300 yen. I already listened to side 1 of this, and it is so hot. It is so good. I love it. And I'm going to get a bunch more. Mahavishnu Orchestra, for sure. Super fun. Did John McLaughlin play with Zappa? That's what I was hearing. I was just hearing the sophistication of Zappa. On keyboards is Jan Hammer. Oh my God, this guy's a monster. He needs to be chained up along with McLaughlin. Super fun record for $3. So for $35, I walked out with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 records. I thought that was a pretty good haul. So I'm very pleased with myself. $35 for 5 records. It was a great deal. So yeah, maybe not all of them will stay in the collection for that long, but I'm very happy and I'm very thankful to the good folks at the All Japan Disc Carnival. It was a lot of fun. And thanks to this guy who ran this booth for having some cheap records. Would you like to come to Japan? Would you like to come to the record fair in Japan? There's several that I can think of. There's the one in Bonus Track, which they do twice a year. Totally different flavor, more sort of esoteric and deep digger type stuff. And there's another one in Yokohama, and there's a huge one. These same guys do this in other cities in Japan, and I've been to the one in Osaka, and I think more people come to that one. It's actually, I think, bigger than the one in Tokyo. But I had a lot of fun, and I encourage you, if you come to Japan, maybe reach out to me. Maybe sign up for the newsletter, and I'll be better at announcing what's happening in Japan, and maybe you can align your trip to one of the record fairs. We can go together, and maybe I can help you find what you're looking for. And yeah, what do we think about the proxy buying? I don't know. I'm not sure, but let me know what you think. So thanks for indulging me in another video. It was a long one. Thank you for coming with me on a long journey across Tokyo. And I hope you had fun, and I hope you have found something cool in the digs. If you're ever trying to come out this way, or your record-loving friends are on the way, let them know about me and let them know about Tokyo Record Style. I'd love to photograph them for the series. You can check out tokyorecordstyle.com. There's a really cool photo series there. It's more than just this YouTube channel. It's all about record loving. And I loved my day at the record fair, so hope you did too. And hope you had a nice holiday weekend, or whenever you're watching this. I hope you're having a good day. So until next time, I will see you at the record store. Bye.